Moon Platoon, this is my impersonation of the SEC right now. Ooh, I can't see anything because manipulation is right in front of me, and I would rather keep my eyes shut because it's nice and dark in here. We had the first federal holiday for 40 years just got passed, and that's why SEC was turning a blind eye, it's their holiday, while the markets were open and heavily manipulated today. But there are two reasons why our friend friend in loose terms, the SEC attorney, former enforcer, coming in and talking to Melissa Lee about why it's not a level playing field. But first, I want to tell you a quick take on the FUD report. Crazy new names in the meme stock craze, trying to catch a little bit of that clout, but also throwing distractions in your face. But with the FUD detectors turned on to stun, maybe kill, and as soon as we get to 3,000, that's right, we're going for 3,000 likes on this video. If it's not quite there yet, hit that like, tell us which like you are on our way up in the comment section, and let's go. What is the last newest name in the meme stock craze? And then at the end of this video, we'll jump back into the rest of it. Let's listen.
Give you a quick last word, Justin, before we go. One more name to throw in the mix.
I think one more name. I think GameStop. I think some of the attention has been taken off GameStop recently, but it was the original Reddit darling, and there's still a lot of chatter that's being talked about GameStop. Still a lot of...
What kind of chatter? Well, let's talk about that cup and handle that's been performing over the last few weeks, if not months. Let's go to the daily chart for GME and then take a look at the potential cup and handle that has been performing for the past months long journey. This is the gamma squeeze from March on the left side of the cup and the gamma squeeze from June on the right side of the cup, with the cup handle currently halfway between life and death, right? A good cup and handle pattern may take weeks to actually end up playing out, and that is exactly what GameStop has given us. A perfect lid of a $358 left side candle and a $358 right side, right? Give or take 10 or so dollars. On the handle side, right, we are experiencing lower and lower volume today. GameStop had 4.28 million, pitiful volume, and that means we are actually getting closer to the breakout of a potential boom, second gamma squeeze, which is led by this cup and handle bullish pattern. That's why people are going crazy for GME. If you were sleeping on GameStop, that is going to be a big no-no playing out. So let's talk about whether or not this this SEC attorney is going to drop another couple of truth bombs and look at whether Melissa Lee, the Naked Shorts Yeah girl who was on, Naked Shorts Yeah reporter who was on the hot mic when we found her saying naked shorts on CNBC when she wasn't supposed to, and then she turns out to be embracing it. Let's see if she's friend or foe.
Let's bring in Jacob Frankel, former SEC enforcement lawyer. He is now a partner at Dickinson Wright. Jacob, great to see you again.
Thank you. Good to see you.
What do you think, or who do you think, what group do you think is number one on the list for the SEC to investigate when it comes to this whole trade?
The answer to your question about investigate is really the key. Investigation would be those who were involved in the momentum trading. That would be whether it be institutions, whether it be individuals, whether it be those who were trading off the Reddit board, whether it was those who were messaging on the board and trading. What the SEC will look at is everyone who traded in these meme stocks, those that were trading in disproportionate percentages to what their fundamentals demanded.
Fundamentals. We heard the safe word for many of these hedge funds. Fundamentals. If it doesn't make fundamental sense, must be a pump and dump scheme by the millions, the 4.1 million apes that currently hold AMC. This is the narrative shift that we have been waiting for. It was actually those dirty, stinky retail investors' fault that the entire economy is looking down the pipe of a major economic downturn. Whether or not we are going to be able to prove coordination, prove the fact that people have been investing without understanding that whatever they invest, they should be fully willing to lose. All of that aside, the former SEC enforcer is already telling you that as an ape, The SEC is not going to overlook the fact that you have been investing and buying and holding disproportionately to the percentage of what AMC should be doing in terms of its fundamentals. And what does that even mean, since AMC has been so disconnected from its fundamentals for such a long time? Well, let's watch Melissa Lee fire back.
And you go back to what you were talking about with respect to options, the word fundamentals kept coming up time and time and time again in your last segment. And the fact is, what we're really talking about is, what is the SEC going to do from an investigative perspective with respect to all these securities that were running well beyond what the fundamentals demanded?
Isn't that a judgment then by the SEC that fundamentals either warrant or don't warrant an investigation? That's not really the role of the SEC to say, hey, this
That's a good point, Melissa.
stock isn't worth this, and so we're going to investigate the trading surrounding it.
That's a great point. The SEC's job is not to be able to look and say, hey, this makes no sense. You can't buy a stock that is not worth $60 a pop. Who gave you that responsibility, SEC? We know that we've covered in that live stream that we went bell to bell today that Gary Gensler cares about three things right now. He cares about gamification, he cares about payment for order flow, and he cares about dark pools. Of those three things, right? None of them are the naked shorting scandals that are making the entire world finally angry and fed up with the months-long research that we have been developing on these hedge funds. And now we are coming to a former SEC enforcer who probably knows a thing or two. God, his credentials really changes when you listen to the words that come out of his mouth, when you think about just how blatantly confused he is about the narrative that is currently being driven. So Melissa is asking a great question. Why is it up to the SEC to tell us whether or not fundamentals is the real play here of manipulation?
Well, it's a
The
great
market
question.
judges what it's worth.
A great question, because I'm really not talking about using fundamentals as the metric for the investigation, because there's nothing that should prevent a stock from being able to run 20% or 30% on its own. The real issue was there any fraudulent activity involved in the trading? Was there manipulative activity? Were, for example, individuals, encouraging buying, saying, "Hey, I'm in the stock. Let's get on this for whatever reason," when they in fact are selling the stock. So I think
so you gotta be careful for the ones that are saying, you gotta buy this stock, and then I'm actually selling the stock. SEC, how are you going to find each ape individually and saying, were you saying buy the stock and then you sold the stock? Remember, we don't do any coordination. We don't do any financial advice on this show. SEC, if they are going down this rabbit hole, is going to find nothing more than a bunch of apes hooting and shouting about liking the stock and not about the coordination of pumps and dumps. There is nothing the SEC can find here that is going to make a taxpayer ROI happy, right? Those of us that pay the SEC's salaries, that's you Americans. We're talking to you right now about whether or not they are currently looking at the right avenues for fraudulent activity. Seems like, according to this man, they're probably not.
the dynamics that the SEC is going to look at from an investigative perspective. Mm-hmm. When you framed the question originally, you were talking about regulation. I don't think you can regulate it here because you really can't create multiple tiers of regulation or apply different metrics to these securities. So.
All right, we're up against the top of the hour, Jacob. It's always good.
I also agree. It's like whatever you're saying, Jacob. Well, Mr. Former SEC enforcer has given us some insight into what Gary Gensler would do. As promised, let's take a look at what the other FUD stocks are. Remember, distraction stocks are one and many alike. We have Clover coming in, taking the distraction off of our sites, and a bunch more in the way. What is CNBC trying to ride? We have Purple Innovation here. We have... let's see, Tilray, right? We've actually talked about Tilray for a good amount, has not paid off since those January gamma squeezes yet. Let's take a look at why Tilray is the darling favorite, and then we'll wrap up this video.
6 months, they've actually added over 20% of new products to their product line. When you're trying to win a new market, having a great brand and having a lot of products that users love is very good for that.
And Purple.
Okay. Let's talk about Purple.
Right, has increased substantially since then, and
hold on. Let's talk about Purple.
A lot more, right? The Wall Street Bets community has increased substantially since then, and if you actually think about it, there's nothing different. There's nothing different what's going on right now than what's always been going on. People used to talk about stocks around conference tables. They used to talk about ideas around Campfire. Now we're doing that online. So as that community grows, for the first time, we're able to track it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think any compelling descriptions of these stocks are going to do them any justice. How about you do your own research and let us know what you think about fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Thanks for those of you who make this show possible, right? I love showing off the screen because it means that the Moon Platoon, Meatball Space Legend tier, and the Grillionaire tiers, you guys are making this show this much more likely to run bell to bell, day after day, and that weekend stream that's coming up later. Maybe we'll be talking to Austin about Austin Tobit, a DD writer, researcher, and GME lover, whether or not we are going to see Dave Lauer's plans take off next week. So hope you're excited for Dave to come on the show. And if you guys have not yet, smashing that subscribe so we get to 110,000 subscribers is the goal for this weekend. If we get there, wouldn't that be cool? Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the money. Have a great Friday. Peace.